You are now listening to the Add 10 Gallons Concrete Podcast.
Wait, the answer was add 10 gallons?
Add 10 gallons.
My first thought was we got to put Acti-Gel in it.
Yeah, great.
Truck's on the way. On the way.
Yeah, okay. I've got two observations, neither of which are really educated or well thought out. Which are like most of my observations are.
There aren't a lot of problems on a job site that can't be solved with a sack full of biscuits.
Today's episode of the Add 10 Gallons Concrete Podcast is brought to you by Acti-Gel 208. Acti-Gel 208 is a high-performance additive for the concrete industry that is greatly beneficial to the producer. It enables them to increase the percentage of manufactured sand by up to 100% and completely replace all the natural sand in the mix. In areas where natural sand is scarce, inconsistent, and expensive, this provides a huge benefit to any ready-mix company out there. Benefits of manufactured sand and concrete include consistent air content, improved compaction, and increased density. Now in the past, the downside of using manufactured sands was that they were hard to pump, hard to place, and hard to finish. Well, Acti-Gel 208 solves all those issues. By improving suspension, stability, and the quality of the cement paste in the mix, Acti-Gel overcomes the old issues with manufactured sand and leaves them behind. Let Acti-Gel 208 improve the quality of your mix while saving money on every yard you produce. For more information, visit us at actigel.com. That's ACTI-GEL.com.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to today's episode of the Add 10 Gallons Concrete Podcast. This is episode 10. We appreciate you being with us. We got the boys back. Paul, what's going on?
Oh, it's good, brother. It's Friday. Going into the weekend. Daughter turns 5 today, so I'm going to go home and we're going to bust up a Hello Kitty piñata.
All right. Joey, what's going on?
I'm doing good considering I don't have a Hello Kitty piñata to bust open.
I know, I'm jealous too. Go to piñata candy, Paul. Go.
Oh, my gosh. For me, it's Jolly Rancher.
Okay.
Because it goes flying.
That's true.
It falls out. Good flow. Great flavor. It lasts a while, so it's not gone too quick. Doesn't melt if you're doing it outside in the summertime. Okay. Big Jolly Rancher guy.
All right. Okay, Joey.
I still got to go with the mini Reese cup. Don't care how hot it is. You can still get them out of that wrapper.
I'll eat the wrapper. I don't care. I was always a big fan of the Jawbreaker hard candies.
Really? That's like the one thing I never wanted. I was like, don't make me eat this for 3 days.
I'm also, completely other end of the spectrum. I'm also a huge Tootsie Roll fan, the flavored ones and the chocolate ones.
Okay, I can see that. Yeah, so we've got mostly chocolate for our piñata. It's gonna be indoors. The kids love chocolate the most, so ours was full of chocolate. I saw Becca ran in this morning, Dad, look what I got, and it was just a gigantic bag of Hershey Kisses, and she was like, "This is what I'm eating on my birthday." I was like, could you please just hand me a towel? Okay. I need to dry off.
So she already knows how to take advantage of proper situations to get what she wants.
She
already knows it's my birthday. I can probably do whatever I want to.
Look, I don't know what they get away with at school on birthdays. I think here it gets pretty rowdy, but she'll have a belly full of cupcakes and candy by the time she goes to bed tonight for sure.
Awesome.
I'm more surprised flavored. I never even heard of that.
Oh man, absolutely. Yeah, they're a little bit larger in size than like your traditional skinny Tootsie Roll, but there's like yellow, orange, red,
purple, green.
Yeah. It's they're real popular for parade candy as well up around me. I remember that as a kid.
Too poor for that.
No, none of Joey's teams ever win any championships.
Let's go.
Hey, we at least had Summit for basketball coach, okay?
That's true. You did have the best female basketball coach ever.
How did Pat Summit and Bear Bryant not have a kid together?
They probably did. His name is Nick Saban.
Yeah.
Praise be to him.
Oh, speaking of which, did anyone's team get to play football last week? I feel like everything's been postponed.
It's weird.
We're up here. We're recording this on Friday, so we're not fans, but it's popular around here. The Steelers and Ravens played on Wednesday at 4:30 in the afternoon because later that evening there's a tree lighting ceremony that had to be put on television instead. So
What? What?
Yeah.
What are you talking? Hold on. What?
The game was televised on NBC, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, yeah, I saw the end of the game. When I got home, I saw like the last 5 minutes of the game
Right.
was on
So
TV.
at 4:30 on a Wednesday, the game took place. They were bumped from the primetime slot because the tree lighting ceremony at Rockefeller Center was televised on NBC networks at like the 7:30 or 8 o'clock time slot.
Oh, they got bumped.
They
so
got bumped
Oh.
they got bumped by a tree lighting ceremony.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, Alabama played last weekend. It was the Iron Bowl and destroyed Auburn
Banked that.
by 100 points. It wasn't even as close as the score. It wasn't close at all. And then this weekend we're supposed to play Arkansas, and they were like, people would probably rather see the LSU game, so they bumped Arkansas from the schedule. And we're playing LSU this weekend.
I'm not mad about it, but it does show Arkansas standing within the SEC. Like, we are a stepchild.
Well, you say that, and then Alabama's favored by 30 or 40 or some crazy number.
I know.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I think Arkansas will give them a better game, but it's about the fan base more so than the game. Not that Arkansas has a bad fan base, but I can admit we're not LSU.
Hey, the only game I got any money on this weekend is the Texas A&M Auburn game. I think Auburn is terrible. I think Texas A&M is not terrible, not great, but not terrible. And they're you're giving 6.5. You're not even giving a touchdown.
Yeah.
And I think Texas A&M wins by 14. So I think that's easy money.
Yeah, I agree. It's at Jordan Hare, which might factor into it a little bit, but yeah, I'm not necessarily an Auburn hater, but I am this year because Arkansas should have beat them, and they didn't, which is annoying.
Yeah, Arkansas and Georgia both complain about the refs more than anybody else, but Arkansas's claim is at least legit.
Yeah, I'd like to think so anyway.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, for sure. Joey, you gonna watch football this weekend, or you got something better to do?
I mean, there's always something better to do than watch Tennessee football these days. So I'll probably won't even watch the Florida game. I'm going to be legit honest with you. I don't care anything about that game. I've retired as a fan, I think, for the rest of the year, unless, we play that Harrison Bailey freshman quarterback all 4 quarters, then I have zero interest in watching that game.
I hear you.
I feel like Tennessee's quarterback must have blackmail on the head coach. Like, there's no reason the freshman's not playing. And that Florida game opened up. Florida opened as a 16.5 point favorite, and I was tempted. I was like, Tennessee's not very good. Florida is pretty good.
It's a 4-score game all day long.
I was like, I'm pretty tempted. And I was like, I'll come back. I'm gonna sleep on it. And the next day I came back and it was already over 17.5, and it was moving in the wrong direction. I was like, nope.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna touch this. It's just gonna keep going up.
How many points do you think Tennessee's gonna score?
I don't, not enough. Not enough to win. I remember when Garantano come into the program, we all thought he was going to be good. He looks the part, right? He looks like a super athlete. When he throws the ball, he's got days where he looks like a real quarterback. And then just for some reason, he loves to stare down his receivers and throw it to the other team.
Yeah. Yeah, he is a little robotic, as they say, for sure. Not much for progressions, but
speaking of robots,
segue.
Let's turn this to a little bit concrete here. So
right.
there's a couple competitions out there that the very largest of the large concrete cement companies put on every few years, and so there's these innovation competitions essentially, and one of them published the list of finalists the other day that are compete from the grand prize, whether it's tens of millions of dollars or contracts or whatever it is they're going to get.
So tens of millions of dollars.
Something. I mean,
you say the word contract, I see dollar signs.
Well, I don't know if it's contract for orders. It seemed like it was like, here, we're going to seed you this money. Well, that money also come with like, hey, we have to have 10% of your company or 50%. I don't know, but they're getting exposure, and it exposed me to this list of people. And there's some neat things on there, but one of them really caught my eye, and it was a robot that does drywall. And so this robot just comes in and it already has like the drywall like inside of its compartment. It like oozes it out of its arm onto the blade and runs it up the wall, perfectly finished. It moves over the next part, zoop, just goes
Also,
from
like the joint tape compound.
joint tape compound mud.
Okay.
Yep. And just tapes it off. It tapes it off, muds it, screeds it, and then when it dries, it comes back and sands it.
Really?
And so it's just running through these buildings just super fast. And when I saw it, I was like, why not have a robot to finish concrete floors? Why not take the human element out of that? How many laborers do you have on the site that are screeding and finishing those floors? Now, I mean, some big jobs have the laser screeds and stuff, so that's an almost a robotic element taking over that, but it's not automatic.
And
but
there's still limitations to that as well.
There's still limitations to that too. But what if you had a robot that could get into complicated interior floors, outdoor slabs, whatever it is, right? But a robot to finish. Is there a way to do that? Is there a way to do that with a robot? Because the human element to concrete comes in so often. Like a guy that really has experience in concrete, we've talked about it here. He's almost like an artist. A guy who makes concrete is almost like a chef, and a guy that can finish concrete really well is almost like a sculptor, right? So there's a little bit of artistry in with the science.
Well, and Mason Guarino, when he was on the show, he was talking about it's hard to retain those guys. It's hard to train them, and there really isn't a place to go to teach everybody like a set curriculum. You almost have to recognize talent and then somehow maintain or retain it. So yeah, being able to cut out all of that would be just super beneficial to these business owners that, I mean, sometimes they're left to just do it themselves.
Yeah, and Joey, we've seen when we go on sites that almost all the finishers are like 50 years old and older.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There's like the experience is something that you cannot teach a robot that a robot will never be able to have. I think when you get to a certain point or up to that point, a robot or something mechanical is beneficial in that you can cover so much more area. Robot's not going to tire out. You could probably put like a big boom and arms or whatever else to reach across the slab. You don't have to shimmy a guy out to the middle of the slab. And then you have to think about replacing the ride-on, the big ride-on trowels, the mechanical trowels, But there is a certain point where the human aspect does have to take over. A robot can't understand art. I think it can maybe sense feel or have something, some kind of sensor on it that does whatever. But I think it comes to a certain point you have to have some kind of human element in finishing concrete.
Well, I mean, the only element I could think of right off the top of my head is, when do I get on the slab to start the finishing process, right? You want to make blue water. You don't want to work that back into the surface, right? So you got to let that get off. So, but I mean, even then, you could have a guy that just tells the robot, all right, robot, go now. And get on that slab. I mean, you may not have to have a giant arm, Joe. It might be a Zamboni-looking type of thing that shimmies itself out there. It could be compact. It doesn't have to be big, because if it's a robot, it could move so much faster than a person.
Like a Roomba.
Yeah.
A Roomba Zamboni.
Yeah, a Roomba Zamboni. $1 billion idea, boys. We just made it right there.
Hey, I'll build it, but I'm a tech geek, but I'm not very good at at technical things. I'm more of a mechanical minded person, so I'll build you whatever you want. But getting that thing to work off of a GPS signal or however else it would work, that's somebody else's job. But
yeah, off GPS, genius. Yeah.
That's what I would think.
The same way the paving machines that have their guidelines and they got the GPS pinging as they go forward. Farm equipment, same thing where it's all robotic. There's a guy sitting in an air traffic control tower.
Yeah,
it's just running.
Well,
those
for
things.
the finishing machines, you just set up a laser somewhere so it stays level the whole time.
Yep. I think we're onto something.
I do too.
Now,
drop the paperwork.
Well, now I'm going to wait and get a text to see why Will Banks thinks my idea is horrible, because that's the only feedback he gives me on this podcast. Yeah, that's right.
Shout out to Will Banks, never afraid to tell us when we're wrong.
Yeah, episode 5, everybody can go listen to Will Banks and just know that after every episode, he's calling me and telling me what I did wrong. So I'm calling him out right here, right now.
Negative.
I tell you this, man. I don't know about you, Joey, but our guest today, Natalie, was phenomenal, and it was interesting to have somebody on that really taught us something. Man, she really came with like her area of work is something that we just were not familiar with, and taught me a lot about form oil. I don't know about you, Joey. Did you feel the same way from our guest today?
Oh yeah, absolutely. The formula we used to use, at the old job was, we discussed it was diesel fuel and motor oil. It was just mixed up in a jug. So that was all the formal experience that I had. So, when she came on board and, started rattling off all these different applications and what these things did, it was eye-opening for sure.
Well, I tell you, I meant to bring this up on our call with her, but she was talking about ways to like demonstrate the quality of her oil and why it matters. And I actually saw not too long ago a visual representation of this, and I want to do it for Acti-Gel too. Actually, I've been meaning to talk to you about it.
Okay,
so
let's do it. What time now?
Yay! So this guy had built a form, right? So he took like a steel frame, and then on either side of the steel frame, he had very, very thick like plexiglass. It was very thick, and it was bolted into the steel frame. So it had a plating on the bottom, two steel like towers, legs essentially. But again, this whole tower is only like foot high, maybe 18 inches high. It looks like it was custom built, right? Guy just welded it together, but it looked pretty sharp. Inside the box that he's now created, right? Now you've essentially got a box with plexiglass front and back, so you can see straight through it. Metal on the sides, metal on the bottom, and in the top, he had a vibrator that was going down right through the middle, and in the middle it looked like there might be a partition, but it was hard to tell because the concrete was already in this thing. There may have been a partition that went like part way down, but I'm not exactly sure. It may not have been. But I tell you what was different from the left side of this box. The right side of this box was on that plexiglass. And by the way, the plexiglass was threaded on there, so you could pull it off if you need. You could pull off the front and the back of this thing. But anyway, on the inside of the plexiglass had been coated in two different form oils.
Oh, okay.
One on the left and one on the right.
Okay.
And poured in this concrete like halfway up or 3/4 way up, and had the pencil vibrator in there, and then hit the consolidate. And it was the difference in the amount of air bubbles that were entrapped on the side from one formula to the other. It was completely different, 100% different. Exactly like our guest was talking about today. When you use the higher quality stuff, you get rid of all the air bubbles, not just the big ones, but the thin little pinholes and stuff. Mm-hmm. And you could see in this demonstration, it was a massive difference between how the concretes were up on this thing, and the higher quality was obvious. It was almost perfectly smooth and compacted right up against the plexiglass.
That's a really good idea. That would work really great for form oil or something like that.
Yeah. So I hope, Natalie, if you hear this, we're thinking about you, girl, and get you one of these demonstration things.
Yeah, for sure. I was surprised at how much innovation there is and stuff you wouldn't even think about, stuff that's been around for a while, stuff like form oil. It's generally not high on people's list as it pertains to things that are cutting edge, right? Because form oil is it's an important part of the process, but you don't think of it as being a technical part of the process. But the way Natalie speaks and the way she describes their products at Cresset, it's super technical. And that's what was surprising to me is how much innovation and technical aspects go into each and every product that they carry. So that was the major takeaway for me, is how technical a process like that can be.
Yeah, and I don't steal any of her technical thunder here, but I did appreciate hearing someone who has a product that is innovative in the industry, but realizes that they can't do it by themselves. Like, you've got to have a quality mix, and you've got to have a quality form. And if the forms in these precast plants are messed up, well, we got to fix those too. And sometimes not just the quality of your form, but the makeup of the form. Like, there's just different levels. And for her to be able to suss that out, and then I didn't get a chance to tell her this, but she alluded to it, and I thought it was the right comment, is that she said, being technical, being there on site, and when things don't go well, being able to fix them, that's when she makes her money.
Oh yeah.
And we're the same way, right? Anybody can make a phone and call or send an email or whatever. But when you're on that job site and that concrete does not look right, something went wrong, you got to be able to fix it. And that's where you guys make your money, and being able to point out those errors before they happen to prevent those things from happening. That's where you guys make your money. And she's figured that out on her own. And I thought that was pretty impressive.
Yeah, that can be applied to almost every industry, even, medical field or whatever. You get paid or you earn your money when things go wrong. When things are going right, almost anybody could sit in and do the job. The product or, the process is selling itself. But if something goes wrong and you're there to fix it, there's very few people in the world that could do, what just happened. There's very few people that could fix that.
Let's jump right into it with Natalie Martin from Cresset Chemical. It's a good one.
Let's just jump right into it. Tell us who you're working for, what it is you're doing,
Sure.
and then how you service that region.
Sure. I work for a company called Cresset Chemical Company. They are a form release agent company, and also we do produce a hand cleaner as well. We provide our chemicals. We work in the precast industry mainly and some commercial. And there's two types of release agents. There's a barrier type, which are your diesel fuels, kind of recycled, oils from restaurants and things like that. Sometimes pig fat. It's very stinky if you ever go to one of those plants. Ours is chemically reactive, and we use 100% virgin mineral or vegetable oils for our product. And then we have our little, we call it Cresset pixie dust that goes into our oils, and that's the magic. So you apply our product onto a concrete form, extremely thin. It chemically reacts, and you think of like a static on your TV, how that's while working really fast. That's what it's doing with the calcium in the cement. So it's just creating this friction, working all your bug holes out and allowing you to get a very beautiful finish. So it'd be bug hole free, and our product allows the concrete to take the same surface as your form. So if your form's shiny, your concrete will be shiny. If your form has a matte finish, then your concrete will be more matte. People that use barrier oils, they typically have a lot of bug holes, as well as staining. Sometimes that stain will cure out or over time evaporate, but ours does not, and our product will fix all that. So pretty neat to be. I work a lot with architectural precasters, so our product is used in the Apple building. All these new football stadiums are going up. The Raider Stadium, the Rams, the new 49er Stadium, that one was all done using our product. The Natchez Trace Bridge, they used our product on that bridge. So if you see a bug hole free, just beautiful, beautiful concrete, it's probably our product. Helped get it that way. I mean, it's a mixed design as well, but I got to this point through the CIM program. I graduated in December 2016. From there, I went to work for a company called Staylight. They're a lightweight aggregate company. My territory was Georgia, Florida, the Caribbean, and Mexico. It was the best job in the world. I miss it very much. But my family ended up not wanting to move to Florida. So it took me 2 years in that company to find a company that would bring me back to Tennessee. So I'm here back in Tennessee with my 3 wonderful children who've caused these gray hairs on my head. And I now service half the United States, so everything east of the Mississippi. My title is Technical Sales Manager, but I like more the technical side, so I work a lot with distributors, and I find out what the plant, who they have accounts with, which distributor, and then I'll call that distributor like, hey, I'm about to sell this person some Cresset, get your butt down here, and then I let them handle all the negotiating and all that, because my job is being technical and out in these plants, it could take anywhere between a week to 30 days. I've been at a plant 30 days to get the look of their concrete perfect. So that's hard enough, and you're there sometimes 16 hours a day. So I just give the sales part to somebody else.
You said you're going to be on site for, sometimes weeks at a time. Would you be making changes to the mix, or would you have different things in your bag of tricks that you would do to help get the finish they wanted?
So I usually start with our side of things. So what does the form look like? And I see what kind of form they have. We have several different types of form release. So I will adjust the form release I spray on the different form releases, and that takes about a week to get to minimal bug holes and what works for their forms. Because sometimes if forms have a lot of scratches, we need to have one of our release agents that have extra additives that will add. It's still not a barrier. It's still always chemically reactive, but maybe a little bit more reactive or a little bit thicker to allow it to release with a clean finish. So once I get that adjusted, then we start with the mix. Okay, we got most small, teeny tiny pinholes. That's because of release agent. Once you start getting the bigger, more angular looking release holes, those are more probably because of your aggregate. So what's your aggregate size? And what's your ratio for your sand and your coarse aggregate? So most of the time you can just take out a little bit of coarse, add a little bit more sand, and then that'll fix those bigger bug holes. Sometimes we have to we switch from like a regular concrete mix, and we'll bring in their chemical company and have them design for them a self-consolidating concrete. And so self-consolidating concrete, a good flowable mix with our release agent, cuts your time, your cleaning. It'll just do wonders for business and the cost savings.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we were also in the new Apple building that went up, but we were in the parking garage. So
okay,
10,000 space parking garage, largest parking garage in the world, and they used Acti-Gel probably in conjunction with your form release.
Yeah.
And at that time when we were servicing the precast industry, we were doing double T's, we're doing bridge beams and girders and these special projects like the parking garage for Apple. And the thing that our product was doing was also giving a better finish, but it was hit or miss. Like sometimes we would just have a perfect Class A pristine finish, and then other times it was not. We were getting bug holes of all shapes and sizes, and so as we were going from place to place, and sometimes we have great success, we realized we're like, you know what, our product has a part to play in this, but there's two factors that are way more important than us, and that was the condition of the forms, number one, and what their form oil was, number two, or form release agent. But we didn't know anything about form release agents. We knew the ready mix guys are using diesel fuel, and so it has the staining, but it's cheap, right? The diesel fuel or whatever the recycled stuff is cheap. So they're like, look, we're just going to spray it on some plyboard. Let's get these walls put up. Nobody's going to see these walls anyway. Let's just use the cheapest stuff possible. But if you could you take a moment and educate me? As you start going through the different types of form oils, which ones are better? What you said yours has got a little activator. It's working with the calcium in the cement to help the finish. But could you give us some more information? Could you go through the different classes of that? Because we learned that we really just don't know enough when it comes to form release agents.
Yeah. So the barrier, which is your diesel fuels and animal fat, they're applied so thick and gelatinized, and you never know what's inside of them because it's recycled. So sometimes they have pieces of food, even though they filter it, there's just things that can react with concrete in the way you don't want to. Sometimes they'll have sugars in them, and they'll keep you'll deform something, and you'll see where some of the concrete was stayed up on the form. And why is that? Is because it almost retarded that area, and it peeled away, and so you have exposed aggregate now. So I've only been in this side of things for 2 years, and I still don't understand why precasters and contractors continue to use those type of crude oils. They're bad for the environment. They have high VOCs, and I understand that they're low cost, but for diesel fuel, it's $3 and some change per gallon. You only get about 300 or 400 square feet of coverage, where this little can of our product, it will be double in price, but it gives you 1,000 square feet. So you do definitely get more for your money when you go with a chemically reactive company.
Okay, so the diesel fuel and animal fat, that's your basic. That's your very low end, low cost, and it's plentiful. It's plentiful, and it's what people know. Let's be honest. When you're talking about concrete, it's hard to get these guys to change, and so they're going to do what they know. So if you want to go a step above that, then you start going to guys like Cresset. And Cresset's you're gonna have different grades of product. You're more expensive and you're less expensive.
Right. So we'll start with, we have our water base, so it'd be 20. Our water base is probably one of the best architectural products you could get. So we still have our pixie dust, which we're not the only company that has the pixie dust. You have other companies that have that, and they're our competitors, and they're pretty even with us now that technology and people are able to test things and build that pixie dust, which is an amino acid basically. So the water base has that same amino acids in it, but it's a water base. It takes emulsifier to put in it. It only lasts 6 months on the shelf. But like I said, once you get it, you use it, it'll give you a beautiful finish. You still want it to be thin, but it's more user friendly, I guess I would say, as long as you're not using it in extreme temperatures. So not extreme heats right in the sun of Florida or Texas, and not in extreme colds, Montana in the winter months. Then from your water base, you go to your mineral spirits base. That one's particularly my favorite. It's what that one is extremely user friendly. You spray it on a form of double T, and by the time you're done spraying, the carrying agent has evaporated, and it's only leaving that chemically reactive pixie dust. You get a beautiful finish. The only thing they don't remember if they sprayed it or not, because there's no oil left. So sometimes they'll apply it twice, which doesn't matter, but still it's a waste of product if you're spraying a whole double T, twice. That one does have higher VOCs, so you're looking at about 450 VOCs. And if you're outdoors, that's fine. If you're indoors, that's probably not the product for you. Then you go up to our 880 VOC extras. Those have VOCs, which is, the particles that evaporate into the air. That is down to like 200. And so you can use that indoors. Those products are now eco-friendly. So if they spill into the ground, they're not going to affect your water. They're not going to affect browns your plants growing. It can go on doesn't leave burns, just healthier all the way around. So the higher quality of your oils, more environmental friendly, as well as safe for yourself, skin, respiratory, things like that. The last one we have is our platinum, and that is you put something, it's a synthetic. So that one is only used in California. And if it's going to be around water, like ocean water, you would use that product. And that is a synthetic oil. So that one is a little bit more expensive, but it's extremely eco-friendly. You can spill it anywhere you want, and it's not going to affect anything. And it has extremely low VOCs, under 100. So that's, I guess, how you vary your oils is what their base is. So you have water base, you have mineral spirits, mineral oil, vegetable oil, and then a synthetic oil.
That's a good education right there. Then I have the last 11 years in the business.
Right, 100%. Well, I am curious as well, Natalie, and you mentioned that you've been in this position for just a few years now, but when you talk about the amino acids and introducing new technology and trying to get people to move from what they know, which is the diesel fuel, and how rapidly has that technology advanced in your time at Cresset? Has it been a slow build, or is it just something you've seen that all of a sudden within the last couple of years has been a massive influx of or injection of technology?
So when I first started selling Cresset and trying to pitch it, it just wasn't clicking with people. And they're like, yeah, no, I don't know the cost. And, it's so application sensitive. And I was like, man, I can't, how can I change this? And to me, I needed to bring more technology into it, not just that it's oil, right? So we have equipment. We have equipment specially made called Rover or 5860, and it's an air. You put pressure in the air tank, and then about up to 200 psi, it regulates into an oil tank, and then you spray it, and it's extremely high, and it does like a little bit of a mist, almost as misty as what a spray can would give you. When I added that to my pitch with the oil, it changed the game 100%. So I think adding equipment or some kind of special device that will, that is meant for your product, it changes things all the way around.
Yeah, it sounds like your job is a lot similar to ours, and And I'm curious to know, how has COVID affected you during this past year?
Oh, too much. So I average about 50,000 miles on my car a year and about 20 flights. My mileage for this past year was only, I think it was 16,000. And my flights were for World of Concrete and the precast show, and that was it for this year. So 4 flights, So from March, I didn't travel at all, see any customers until the first week of September. I spent a week with the customer there. September, I've only spent 1 week in Florida. In October, I'm going back to Florida. I leave Monday for a week, and then that's it. So it's been hard. Like I said, I'm very technical. I value myself in how hard I work. How much my feet hurt at the end of the day, how physically tired I am. That's how I value myself, and that's how I feel like I'm worth my paycheck. I mean, I'm blessed that I'm still getting paid, and we're still able to make sales and stuff using emails and Zoom meetings. I do a lot of FaceTime with customers that are having issues, but it's still not the same. I feel like I'm losing something. Like I had to take a 30-minute walk and jump rope just to do this interview, just to get my brain, like awake again. The thoughts, I feel like I'm getting slow. I'm freaking gained 10 pounds. You know what I mean? I'm like baking damn cookies all the darn time.
I gotta be honest. I mean, I felt that. That's me to a T.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
all this working from home stuff, just not used to it. And I got, it's easy to get into these ruts. I got to the point where I had to wake up and like get dressed like I was gonna come to the office, or like I was gonna go out on the job site, because otherwise or at least me, I couldn't get into that work mindset that I'd been so used to.
Yeah,
and also, like you mentioned, the travel is way down.
Well, 50 flights a year for us, easy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm around Baltimore, which is a huge Southwest hub, and I was hitting A-list preferred by like July, and I'm not going to get it this year. I'm a little upset about it. And then there's companion pass too, which that's nice to have, but I'm going to get that either.
Yeah. It is definitely hard not to travel. I go into CIM, I go into the office and speak with Sally, Nicole a lot. I've been like asked to do Zoom meetings or things for like STEM, and then at the last minute they get canceled, and I get so bummed. So I didn't even tell anybody about this, because I feel like every time I tell someone, that I'm going to do something and then it gets canceled, and then I literally cried for like 24 hours. Like, what's wrong? We can't even freaking Zoom. So this is not good for, I'm extremely outgoing, very energetic person, and being at home, and maybe if I lived in a house it'd be different, but I'm in an apartment right now, and so I've got every tool you can think of in my garage, but they ex-nayed me doing the saws. People started complaining, so I can't freaking build anything. I don't know, I can't glue gun anything else in my place. But so it's been really hard, and I have dyslexia, so writing emails, it takes a little bit of time for me to do it. And so now I've been faced for these, 8 months with the most, what you need to improve on yourself. Every year you think about those things, and mine's always writing. And so I've been having to deal with this for 8 months, and I don't think it's gotten any better. But I'm just not motivated. I'm just like, okay, what do I do? My brain moves so fast that I can't type it fast enough. And then I just type and close my eyes, and then I open them, and I got like all these red things I've spelled wrong. And I was like, in my brain I spelled it right. But anyway.
That happens to Joey Bell too, but that's because he was raised in Tennessee public schools.
That's right.
But I would say it's Tennessee public schools that caught my dyslexia and helped me out. So I've been very blessed. I grew up and graduated from Columbia Central. And then I went and did hair and was a stay-at-home mom for many, many years. I went to Columbia State in 2012, and I got my associates in science from there, graduated with honors. But I had a lot of tutors and a lot of help. And then I went to CIM, got a full ride from them, did the CIM program in 2.5 years. My concentration was in contracting at first, And during my internships, I realized that I'd probably kill myself if I would have stayed in contracting, because I was one of those first ones on the site, last ones to leave. Things need to get done, and I had like this tunnel vision of getting that done no matter what. And I went to, I don't know if any of you guys, how many of you are CIM grads? Did any of you guys go to England to do and work at the constructionarium in England?
No.
No.
No, we had Dr. Brown on. She was telling us about all these fun projects. No. We were in school when the economy crashed, and there was no nothing. You know what our senior project was? We went across town in Murfreesboro and poured a sidewalk.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
No, I busted my ass in my CIM. So 2.5 years of program, and I graduated with 2 years of experience. So constructionarium is that you go to a place in England and you kind of compete with other countries, and we pick a project. So John Huddleston and Dr. Knight took us, and they took 6 kids from each CIM school, so Texas, Chico, and New Jersey. And we did an A-frame cable bridge. So it was a mini replica of the Brewery Bridge in London. And so it was really awesome. I was quality assurance. And let me tell you, I came home with a 2x4 to the face. So I had a concussion. I craved barbecue sauce for 3 months. I had a sprained ankle, wrist. This is embarrassing, but I didn't pee for like all week because it was too darn cold. And so, like, I was swollen, my kidneys, like, were infected, and it was just nonstop. And I just wanted to have the best project. We had a ready-mix truck coming to pour our A-frame was precast. So they were about to pour it, and we forgot to put this wraparound rebar on the A, and nobody booked the crane to come lift it up. So I freaked out, and I went and I lifted that A-frame on my own and had someone slip the cable on there. So everyone was yelling at me, but my brain, I was just like, it's just got to be done, and you just got to do it. And so I grew up in wedding coordination, and it's different in picking up a big bunch of flowers and throwing them on something versus a big, huge A-frame rebar. I realized after that, maybe I should go into sales. So, and it's helped. I still almost kill myself sometimes, but at least it's like I'm there to do sales mainly, some tech support, and it's mostly verbal, and I let the guys kind of do it.
What brought you to the CIM program? What made you interested, or what got you there?
So at Columbia State, I was thinking about being an engineer or like a math teacher for high school. I realized my mouth is too bad to teach school, and I'm a really aggressive person. I don't mean aggressive like just mean and punching everybody, but I'm a hands-on person, so I will shake you if I need to. So I'd probably get fired if I was a teacher. And then engineering, I found out they would take me like 4.5 more years, to graduate. And I had 3 children, and I needed to start making money. Dr. Brown came and did a little talk, and she met me at Columbia State, and then she invited me to come to the office. And I was like, well, school of business offered me a scholarship, and so did the physics department. She was like, oh no, we'll take care of you, and they did. And so I just had to write an essay every year. And then if you think about it, in concrete, you always see concrete being poured, even through the economics. My family in California, they had concrete businesses, and think they ever complained about money. We always had big, huge parties. They all had really nice cars. I gave them a call when I found out I was getting the scholarship, and I was like, should I do this? And I was like, hell yeah, you move back to California, and we'll give you a job. But no way, I'm a Tennessee girl. I'm so slow. They don't have lights in California to turn left. Hell no, I can't do that. I need my green light to turn left. I don't like crossing traffic. And we are getting a lot of Northerners here in Tennessee, which I don't like.
Sorry.
No offense.
Amen to that.
Y'all know you're supposed to hold doors for women, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I grew up in Hickman County. I was your neighbor. You probably didn't realize it. Right there, right across the railroad tracks over there going down 50. Yep.
Oh, yeah? Okay. Yeah, but you guys, they don't. I was at Opry Mills when I was walking in, and these group of guys walked in, to the mall and they closed the door right behind them, and I slammed in the door and I opened it. I was like, hey, where are you guys from? And they're like, up north. I said, you're supposed to open doors around here for women.
I also hold doors for women, Miss Natalie.
Oh,
I did
goodness.
give Joey a hard time for going to high school in Tennessee. I went to high school in Alabama, so
Oh. So you're raised with manners.
Born and raised. If I hadn't had manners, they'd have been slapped into me.
Everybody that grew up in Nashville or the vicinity of Nashville have moved out of there. Like, we got out of there. We let all the yuppies and the hipsters have Nashville. They can have it. So we're all out here in the country in the peace and quiet.
Yep. I'm hoping to buy land here in the next year. So I want to raise turkeys as my supplemental income.
Nice.
So we'll see. We'll see how that works.
Don't let Joey anywhere near those turkeys.
No, but I want to do like organic, and then also have the turkey experience. So if you do want to hunt your turkey, I guess I could throw it out in 1 acre and you go find it. Yeah, but I will say that, so being a female in the industry, and when I work the southern territory, they're a lot more courteous, out even. The laborers. The laborers could be some rough guys. Those guys are really nice. You go to the north, and it's a whole nother story. I mean, they really don't have filters up there, and I've got to, sometimes pull out these guns a little bit. You want to mess with me?
This is why we need this show to be on YouTube 100%.
For sure.
That right there was worth the price of admission.
Well, yeah, that'll make it into a clip, because we do have a Facebook and Instagram page where we put on clips of the episode, and there's a video element to it.
So I was in a precast plant last year, and they had something I had never seen before. They had a brand new form. This form was emitting high frequency vibrations. So it wasn't like these air driven pneumatic ones that are just like super loud and
Right.
Really, it was actually, you could barely hear it. You could barely even tell it was turned on. It was high frequency, and it was doing. And so I don't know, number one, I don't know if you've seen that type of technology from these new forms. And then number two, do you ever consider working with the manufacturers of the forms and introducing them to your product and work together to say, hey, the best way to make concrete with your forms is to use our stuff. Let's work together and make this happen.
Yep, we do. So we have some contracts out there with the form liners. So your form liner will only be in warranty if you use their specific release agent or ours. And that's huge. And I think we are the only form release agent that works with these form liners, as well as right now we are working with the steel form company. So they build steel forms, and they are also going to put us into their warranty and says, unless you use their, release agent, then we're not going to warranty these forms for you. And because I do so much technical support, when they want to sell these forms, go set them up and have me come in and train the companies to use the form release. And you should not be using grinders or anything that's abrasive to your forms. If concrete does stick to your forms, you should use some kind of chemical or concrete eater to get it off. Because a form, the steel is it's got a sill mill, right? So it's got that black like tint to it, and that is not porous. It's 100% smooth, non-porous material. As soon as you break that sill mill, which is very thin, then now you're working with something that's porous. When you add scratches of grinding machine to that, you're adding something that the concrete can now grip onto. A lot of release agents, they will go in and fill into those grooves, even though they're teeny tiny, but they don't fill them up enough to make that smooth, flat surface. So it then becomes really hard for those, on something that's vertical, for those air bubbles to move up and out. So they move up, they get stuck on a scratch or a gouge, and then all of a sudden all this air starts coming up and getting stuck to it, and then you have a bigger pocket. And even though you look, at a form, you're like, oh, that's good, it's shiny, it looks smooth, and your brain automatically thinks I'm going to get a great looking concrete piece. And then you pull it off, and you're like, what the heck happened? But it's been ground down so much that the surface area of that form it's just not going to give you the surface that you're wanting. And it's sad that those forms cost $1 million. I mean, those forms cost $1 million for like a, 2 or 3 double T's. You'll spend $1 million, but you don't want to pay, a couple cents extra for a product that's going to keep those, forms looking like $1 million. I mean, it blows my mind. It just,
So you got $1 million form, and a guy goes out that doesn't know, hasn't been trained. Maybe didn't think, I need to train this guy not to take a grinder to knock this concrete, the spall of concrete. He wants to knock it off, and instead of using an acid or a concrete eater, as you called it, he's just going to grind it off, and like you said, it messes things up. So what do you do to fix that? Like, how does he get back that proper surface if someone's gouged it or grinded it?
Sometimes you can re-season them. Sometimes you can re-season them. A lot of forms that really strong, thick forms that do like piles and girders or I-beams, those tend to get seasoned. And I haven't studied the steel. I'm starting to study the steel to see what the difference is, but those tend to get seasoned. So we will use our 727 product on there, which is I don't mean to say like low grade in quality, because it's really good quality, but it doesn't have as much as the architectural part of the release agent in it, but it will allow your concrete to detach, and it also eats the concrete off, and it'll eventually smooth out your form. But it takes a while. It'll take probably at least 4 months, and all the concrete that's on there should be gone, and you'll have another smooth surface. Not completely smooth, but smooth enough to give you a good bug hole free concrete. Not architectural, looking concrete, but a good smooth concrete. Or you'll have to sometimes you have to go ahead and epoxy it. There's epoxies out there that will last 80 pours. Some of them last 120 pours. I mean, you can put that straight on the steel. You don't have to do it with wood. We have a product, something called poly release. So you can use any one of our release agents, and then we add something called poly release. And what it does, it adds like a Teflon film to your form. So if your form is really scratched or gouged, we'll add, you use the poly release, and it'll give you that smooth finish. The only thing is, it only works that one time, so you have to continue to use it. So a lot of precasters will only use that on project specific. They're wanting like a CC1 or CC2, which is zero blemishes, then they'll probably use that product.
Is there a industry or an application that you service is there something we don't really think of using a lot of formal that you service? Yeah, so the good thing about the coronavirus is I broke in. What do I do? It's hard to sell to the bigger precasters. So I've been hitting up the little ornamental guys, and I've been sending them samples of our product in a can. And so all the people that produce for the dollar stores, if you go into the dollar store and you see like number one teacher, it's like a rock, it's a heavy, like a paperweight. People are doing those in their garages, and they sell them to the dollar store. They sell them to like these little boutiques. That industry has grown because of COVID, I think, because they're not having to work their normal job. They're able to work in their garage more. So instead of just buying one can every 3 months, they're now buying buckets of it. And that's huge, That's one market. And then stone. So veneer stone, it's a really dry mix, sandy mix, and then they take it, they compress it, and then they take it off. You can still squish the stone, but it's got to cure over time. But they use our product, and I would have never thought, because they're not looking for a smooth concrete finish. It's very granular, so it looks like a stone. Sounds like block plants then.
Yeah.
You have to spray those forms. And,
yeah.
They need that compaction. They don't need concrete to stick to the form there.
Right. Yeah. Oh, I haven't hit up block plants. Yeah. But it would be like that, but just more condensed. So instead of having the coarse aggregate, it would be just sand. It
almost sounds like the brick veneer. The guys that are making they call it thin brick. Is that?
Yep.
Is that brick. Or you're talking about like an actual like rock that's 4 inches by 4 inches by 8 inches? Or are you talking about like the thin veneer, the thin brick?
No, well, the thin brick, they do use our product as well, but the block, like the actual if they do this a lot to fix buildings that were done like 100 years ago, or a lot of like downtown government buildings use that kind of stone. So it's like it's a stone, a manufactured stone, and it's sometimes it looks chiseled, like it would be chiseled, but it's not. It's put into a form, and so they use our product, and it blows. They use our water-based product though, but it just blows my mind because something with the rough, with the rough texture, you wouldn't think would need a release agent as good as ours. But again, they don't want the staining because they're using whites, they're using beiges, a sand color, and these buildings are highly architectural in the way they look, and they're going up for awards. So they want these things, to be inspected and ready for pictures day one. So I guess that's why they use our product. But that's very interesting to go into there. This guy, he makes little Lego concrete pieces, and he just started ordering our stuff. So you can buy a little pallet of concrete blocks, and you can build things with it. And he uses silicone molds, which typically you don't have to use a release agent for silicone, but he's having issues with the cleaning of it. And with our product, there's no residue left on your molds. So he started using our products for the cleaning side of it, not necessarily because he was having issues with bug holes or anything like that. He just wanted to keep his forms clean. And so we provide that for him.
All right, hey, let's give a shout out to the concrete Lego guy because I need to go find this dude.
So it's not like Legos. It's actually, they look like little gray blocks.
Right.
Like Lincoln Logs?
Yeah, but with gray block. Yeah. But you order it and you get a pallet, a little wooden pallet with the gray block on top, and it's super cute.
Well, we love super cute here. That's what we're all about.
Totes adores.
Okay, so it's called Mini Materials. They do brick as well, and you can also buy their forms.
So what's the website for Mini Materials?
It's called minimaterials.com.
Okay, fantastic. We'll put that
one
in.
One word, no dash, no anything.
Nope, just minimaterials.com. And you can put it looks like here you can put your logo. So they've revamped their website since 2 months ago.
COVID will do that to you.
Yeah. Yep.
This podcast is a direct relation to COVID, and it's like, well, I'm in this office for at least 2-3 months. What are we gonna do? It's like, well, we always wanted to make a podcast, so
yeah.
Here we go. Here we are.
Well, they've put me in charge of doing some educational videos, and I did them with my iPhone, and they are so corny. Me and my brother did them, and I'm like, we're not putting this out there. It's just like in the back of my apartment is this field, and I do a lot of thumbs up, and I'm just like, what am I doing? So then we decided to put the money in and hire a professional videographer, and we want to do it in a plant, but because of COVID, I mean, we've had like we're on our 4th time to be scheduled the week of the 14th now, is we just keep getting canceled because of COVID. Someone in their plant tested positive or for other reasons. So it's very depressing because I've been trying for 8 months to get this darn video done, and I haven't been able to do it.
Of any like educational videos or webinars or anything like that to promote proper use of your products?
Yep. So we have one. So we have a YouTube channel, and so on our channel you do see we have a video for our ornamental guys on how to apply with the spray cans. We also have an 8-minute video on the different types of release agent and how to apply it in the precast plants. What I'm working on is one about our rover, that piece of equipment, because that to me is, we have a big promotion where you buy 10 totes in 1 year, you get the rover, and so that equipment plus our product, you can't beat it, and it saves so much in cost. And also this year I was trying to work on a cost analysis thing, trying to up my business game here and see what actually the cost of their product versus our product would be. And we have it, you could do it with, simple math stuff and the cost of our product and how many square footage versus their cost and their square footage. But I don't know, I just want to do an actual project. There's so many parking garages that get built and they're the same dimensions. So we could do one parking garage with our product, one parking garage with another product, and then do it that way, and kind of talk to some other chemical guys and say if they want to go on board and go into a precast plant and do a project together.
Have you talked to Dr. Brown about that? Because they were building parking garages at MTSU left and right at one point. I don't know if they've still got any left, but she may be able to help out there.
Yeah, we they might put one more. I'm not sure if there's space anymore for any more parking garages, but they might put one up for when our building gets built. I'm not 100%, but no. I just started thinking of all this, through COVID. So. But we also have a new concrete eater coming out, so I've been wanting to use that. It works in the lab. Like I heard one of your podcasts where you guys talking about mixed designs in the lab versus when you go out, into the real world. And same thing, it's not concrete unless it screws up. But even with our product, as good as it is, sometimes for some reason, I don't know if it reacts with the release agent that was already on there. I go in there and I'm talking all this smack. Oh yeah, you're gonna have perfect concrete tomorrow. I'll be here, 5 a.m. You're gonna be patting me on the back, and then I walk in and everybody's furious because there's so many bug holes and staining going on a piece that, and I'm just, oh my God, I gotta swallow my pride. And so I've never seen that before, which I hadn't, it only happened once, thank goodness. It was probably this scare. I probably lost all my color, and I think he was towering me and yelling at me, and I was like, oh my God, this is not what I ever want to go through again.
I think every podcast we have somebody has to tell us a story about how they got cussed out when they screwed something up. So don't feel bad, Miss Natalie. That's all of us, and and it's a
rite of passage.
And as you're talking about things just not making any sense, Josh and I got a test report in today, and the 7-day breaks on a concrete that we poured last week on a really important job for us, and one cylinder broke at 1280 psi, the other cylinder broke at 2530 psi, and the other cylinder broke at 4300 psi. Like, our product doesn't make concrete break at the most random strengths ever.
Right.
So they're asking us, they're like, what do you think happened?
Wait. Were those field samples?
Yes, from the pour last week.
Oh, totally normal. Yeah, it's totally fine.
Oh man, it just makes me mad not makes me mad. I think it's hilarious now that people get so upset about things going wrong when it's happened your whole life, and every week that you've been in concrete, something did not go right in concrete. And you're 70 years old and you're still having a heart attack about it? Get out of town. Get out of here. Get out of here.
I'll remember that, and I'm going to tell that to our next customer.
No, we're not. And the beautiful thing about concrete is all the materials are natural materials. The unfortunate thing about natural materials is they have variation. And so you're always going to have variation. There's just so many variables that you just can't escape in this business, and one of those is form condition and form release. And Miss Natalie, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you here and to learn more about form release. I just learned so much from you here.
So call me anytime for any advice. I'm here for y'all, my CIM brothers and sisters out there. And Josh, even though you're not a CIMer, I'll still help you out, buddy.
Appreciate that. After talking to Dr. Brown and so many people from the CIM program, and I got Joey and Paul, I feel like I'm an adopted son. I'm almost
guilty by association now.
Hey, you can go get your master's in like 18 months, dude, and then you can be an official CIMer. So
there you go.
We were just talking about this
tempting,
today.
Yeah, it's tempting.
I think about it. I just cannot imagine doing homework again. Oh my gosh.
I ain't about that life no more.
No, I help my kids and I get so pissed at them. I'm like, YouTube it. Why do you need my help? Just YouTube it. I can't do homework.
Joey, did you have anything else for her?
What is the most interesting or crazy thing you've ever seen on the job?
Crazy or interesting thing. I'm going to take it maybe a little bit different. Crazy. So me being a female in the industry, I just love this story. And there is a ready-mix plant in Georgia that wouldn't let me on their property. I didn't know if it was because I'm Hispanic or if I was a woman, but she just stopped me at the gate. And I was like, all right, I'll be back in 3 months. And he's like, you better not. And he was yelling at me. 3 months, I come back. He's not at the gate this time. I go and I park. And, before I hit the door, he's like, get out of here. I want nothing to do with you. Now, he's still buying our product, but he's just calling into the office. He doesn't want nothing to do with me. And I was like, all right, I'll see you back in 3 months. And I left my business card and a little pamphlet there on the floor right there by the door. 3 months go by, I come back, and he was like, all right, come in, tell me what you got, Well, he already knows our product, but I just told him who I was, CIM. I was in CIM, and he was like, oh, okay. And then I told him, we're ACI field testing certified, and I'm a certified finisher. And when I was doing an internship in Florida, I was able to batch DOT concrete. So then he was like, oh, all right, well, this is not just, I guess, I don't know, I want to say typical female, but maybe not what he thought he was expecting. And so then a couple months later, he called me. He's like, hey, Nat, my QC guy just had a heart attack. Can you be here? We're about to pour lightweight, and I have nobody here at 1 a.m. to handle this. I said, I'm on my way. 4-hour drive. I get there. We do the pour. Everything is fine. About a week later, he calls and he's like, I just want to apologize for treating you the way I treated you the past year. And, this one of the guys out there that you worked with, he passed away 2 days ago, and I have no one to talk to. Can I talk to you? And I was like, I'm here. So I pulled over and I listened to everything he had to say about, the guy that he worked with and losing someone on his plant for the first time. And I did send an email about PPE, and at night, it was kind of scary there because nobody wears PPE at that plant, and you have to come down in the slope and kind of around. And if you didn't have a reflector, I don't know how you didn't get hit, if a truck was coming. So anyways, so he was fixing that. And then he says, do you have any other issues with, guys treating you the way I treated you? And I was like, well, yes, sir. I got 2 other plants. And he was like, who are they? And I told him. And those plants actually ordered a truckload of Stay-Lite, even though they didn't need it. So, and then I didn't have any other issues in Georgia. So, anybody out there listening, and I'm not the only one just because I'm female. I've seen guys get treated really bad that are just taking over. Yep. The good looking ones, Paul, you probably get a lot of flack. You're so cute.
That's very
kind. But you guys get a lot of flack too. So
no, when you finished, I wanted to say 2 things. One, you come across very technical. I think you speak very, very well. It doesn't matter. You notice we didn't ask you any questions about being a woman in the industry.
Right. No.
You exude the technical skill immediately when you talk. You convey that you know what you're talking about, but you're not being braggadocious about it. You're not egotistical about it. You're not trying to prove that you know more than anybody else. Just when you talk, you can tell you know what you're talking about. And so it never became an issue about whether you are a woman or a man in this industry. And I wanted to give you a sense of confidence. I can't tell you whether they were or were not judging you based on your immutable characteristics when you're at that plant. But I can promise you that it happens to all 3 of us on this team. And we have driven to so many places where we go in and we don't know anybody. And as soon as you get out of the car, they're jumping out at the gate to curse you out and tell you to and don't ever come back. I can't tell you how many no soliciting signs we've ignored and just gotten railed on because of it. So I want you to know you're not alone in that by any stretch of the imagination. It happens to us all the time.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I mean, not good, but I'm it's nice to hear that you're not ever alone out there. And I hate that anything negative were to happen to any of my concrete brothers or sisters, but it does happen. And the thing that we have to do is know how many other positive things happened to me that week versus, that one plant. So ready mix plants, I could visit 20 plants in 1 week and 19 accepted me and 1 didn't, and before the CIM program, I would let that one plant just eat me away. But I've grown so much and I feel so blessed being in this industry. even through COVID, I haven't lost my job, right? Our sales have gone up and we're not hitting the road. So my boss could easily call and say, hey, we're making money, but I don't want to pay your salary anymore. But he's not doing that, And I know a lot of us. I'm on the boards of a lot of associations, so I talk to my fellow associates and ask them, trying to be nosy. Are you guys traveling yet? What plants are letting you in so that I can call those plants and get in as well? But nobody's really traveling, but we've all kept our jobs. None of us are hurting financially, and I think we're all blessed and should be blessed. And I hope everybody does the angel tree if you can this year. Give back as much as you can, and because I'm going to make my little spoiled brats do an angel tree.
Well, we do those in my family in Alabama. Those are really big deals, these angel trees. And I saw, unfortunately, a sad story, a post from Alabama from back home, and they said, the angel tree is still completely full of wishes because nobody's going into the stores or buildings or whatever they are. People just aren't going into this place, so the tree's completely full. And man, that just breaks your heart. But your story was very impactful. I love the story that you told about the crazy situation. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
You're welcome, guys. Like I said, anytime, I'm here in Murfreesboro, and I'm down the street from the lab. So if you guys ever want to play in the lab, I'll get you in. I got the hookup.
Awesome.
But no, seriously, email me your address for your lab, and I'll send you some product to keep your equipment looking good. All right.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Awesome. We'll do so much.
And some hand cleaner. The hand cleaner will keep your wives happy. Let me tell you. No, seriously, this guy, he was so, I sell the hand cleaner to the concrete guys like QC labs and things like that. And I had, I was at a plant and they're like, hey, if you go into the mechanic shop, he'll give you a little Cuban coffee. I was like, heck yeah, I don't need to sleep for 3 days, right? So I went in there to get my little cup of Cuban coffee, and then I saw that he had the Cresset hand pump cleaner in there. And I was like, you use the cleaner in here? And he was like, yeah, it takes all the grease off and made my hands soft. And he said, if it wasn't for this hand cleaner, I wouldn't be married. And I was like, why? And he says, because my wife didn't like me touching her with my scratchy hands. So now he can touch her. I don't know where, but he can touch her now because of our hand cleaner. So
that's great.
All right, guys.
Time today was wonderful.
Thank you so much for picking me and speaking with me. I really appreciate it. I needed this. Thank you. Y'all have a very merry Christmas and a happy New Year. Okay.
We will.
Thank you. You too, Natalie. Merry Christmas.
All right. Peace out.
Okay, that's going to do it for episode 10. One final thank you to Natalie with Cresset Chemical for being on today's podcast. We certainly appreciated it. It was a lot of fun to do that interview, and we hope you guys enjoyed listening to it as well. Be sure to check us out on our social media pages on Facebook and Instagram to check out the video element of today's podcast. Also, be sure to give us a review, like, comment, tell your friends. We certainly appreciate it as we try to grow the listenership each and every episode. Also, big thank you to Acti-Gel 208 as today's presenting sponsor. Be sure to check them out at actigel.com, ACTI-GEL.com. Also, there'll be plenty of links in today's show notes for Cresset Chemical and other interesting features we talked about. So, until next episode, y'all take care.